ya balancer. Tukupera gero acha first nani gane why poster we mwini chure kuwekini hero then wafizi tupine kulasi jera tine hiyo kulasi wala shibofu wala shinao prani wala fana agero goro kusenda maraisi wala chovyo wala mungu beni ya ni kwa milioni nisha yapisha na milioni. Gari na kuko tumpa bwino vile. Kula kutamu. Oh, mwefa mpange poni ifira kale lira lira pono kulira. Omwana chawe mutale. Aliangaro. Oi ni mkuu mwana ni kwa mtu wali tawa ameshughuli. Kale speaker bali ni pura speaker bali lisha. Wafema speaker na mwana tika speaker kanoni. Alafu feeling befika ramba. Instead just tefe chintu cha kubati. Tefe chintu school. Alafu akakena kanoni. Kambe sound ya mwana. Kambe na nikana kula lira futi kwati. Kwacha lebo mvyana nikane cha abiri zone. Alafu akanono kalira bati. Nani gani? Tafi çıkaran bazı. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm here live doing the connection for the single DIN radio, a JBL also from Provide Enter Seat. Also, I'm having those speakers which is 6-inch sound. Yeah, I'll do the connections here. Yeah, as you can see, I'm doing the wiring. This is a single DIN I'm having. It's star sound. Yeah, so as you can see, JBL is already powered up, it's on. Yeah, so the cables I'm having here, as you can see, I'm having LED which is constant power, which is 12 volts. A blue one, it's remote. Black one, it's negative. As you can see. So let's do the connection on the LED for the radio. So on the radio, the cables are all the same for these aftermarket radios. So the yellow one, which is positive, it's a constant power positive. As you can see, I'm doing the connection. Let's do the connections together. You learn something, you teach me something. So here the blue one, which is the remote, goes to the lead wire. The black one goes to the negative. So as you all know, the entire body of the vehicle, it's negative. So you can tap anywhere from the body, as long as the base is clean, no any paint, then you are good to get the ground even when doing the subwoofer connections. Yeah, so this is for the radio. So let's see if the radio come on. Yeah, as you can see, radio is on. So let me do the connections for the speakers. So let me try these speakers. So there is positive and negative. So the one with black line, it's negative. The other one is positive. The plain wire. Yeah, so we do the connection, positive, negative. Let's go. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Let's do the connections quickly. Hello. Good afternoon. Even when you try to tamper with the vehicle, it's not to. Oh, car. Or actual original ya motor car. Unless I try to check because for the system there is no cable that goes to the router. Maybe unless I try to check, maybe there are some cables which move when we're trying to open the boot. Okay, I can come and look at it. I don't. The guy have managed to find the motor. Or then you let me know if they have managed to find it. Then I can come maybe tomorrow. Yeah. As I'm doing the motor, then I can look at the one. Okay. Oh, sorry guys, I was on a call. So let's do the connections quickly. Okay, so let's get the speakers. Try this. Yep. As you can see, so this is one. Yes, one which is 270 watts. So in here there is positive and negative. Positive goes here and negative. Okay, so this one, the green wire, this one is clear lift. As you can see. Negative, negative to negative, and positive to positive. So let's just do a simple setup for the radio system. So just put in a simple setup. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's go. This is a proper and simple guidance for the beginners. This is a simple setup how you can connect this system into your vehicle, into your simple car. That's how you can do the connection. Okay, so all speakers are ready. So this one's for the front, this one's for the back. Let's try. Okay. So it's FM. Even the tweeters. So let's try to play the FM. This is the antenna. So let's try to search for the channel. Let's look at another same bullet. Don't take the tube out. Okay, there's no tube there. Okay, that would be like an injector not receiving fuel injection in the engine. There's gas in the tank. Yes, there's oil in the bowl above. But if the injector is not working, if it's clogged, or if it's not connected to the candlestick, not connected to the spark plug, not connected to the cylinder head, not injecting fuel into the cylinder head. Yeah, so this is a simple setup for this system, for this car system. There is a subwoofer, underseat subwoofer, also a single DIN, two door speakers, also two small tweeters. Yeah, so as you can see. Specifically to now that the Lord is speaking to, because I didn't write any of this, I'm just a mouthpiece. Yeah, so let's now try. Yeah, so now let's try to connect this up. Yeah, so everything is connected. So all you need to do is just get the AV cable. Yeah, so you need to put this on. So these two ports go to the radio. The other one goes to the sub. Nomba abantu zone. Bebarangaranga.
Say all of this is in place and it is, but you don't understand it. You don't know about it. You're not wise to it. Then for you, you want to stop flowing. Because God says people will be destroyed for lack of knowledge. If you're lacking an understanding of this, then these broadcasts are coming to you now in order to enlighten you. But it's up to you to study, to show yourself.
So I think for the sake of my mic, let me remove the speakers, then I link with the sub so that you hear that it's playing. So let me disconnect those speakers. So now I link with the sub. As you can see, that's the sub which is playing. Yeah, so now let me. Oh, sorry, I can't play the music for the sake of copyright. Let me go back to the FM.
Effectivement, une enveloppe en peinture noire, donc ça doit faire à peu près.
Set to the 16th century switch to the Georgian or Gregorian calendar when some people continue celebrating the new year around April. So when you look at this, you also realize that if you're a person who's interested in zodiac signs, April is, or should I say March to April, the end of March to the beginning of, or mid-month of April. It's a new season in the zodiac signs, and that's Aries season, my season. But yes, that's Aries season.
Okay.
Yes, and for in zodiac signs, it means it's a new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another fact is, it's actually celebrated worldwide. Did you actually hear that? So many tradition or other countries observe the day, including France, India, and Brazil, each with their own unique prank traditions.
Mm-hmm. Then France calls it poison their veal.
Yeah.
In France, people stick paper fish on others' backs as a joke. The phrase means April fish.
April fish.
April fish. Crazy,
Like it's April fish.
April fish. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy. Another fact is, media outlets often actually join some big companies and news organizations. Sometimes, publish fake stories. What? One famous example is the BBC, Spaghetti tree in 1957.
The tree rocks in 1957. Yeah. It happens. So there's an official rule about timing. So in places like the United Kingdom, it's said that pranks should be only played before noon. After that, the prankster is considered the fool. So if you're the one who's trying to pull a prank after noon, which is after 12 p.m., the moment it's 12 p.m., you are the fool.
Oh.
Yeah, you're the fool, you're no longer the prankster. So those are the 5 facts that we have for you when it comes to April Fool's Day. I hope you have food sound today. I haven't fooled anyone apart from being fooled. Yo.
I haven't fooled anyone. They haven't fooled me. So it's a good day.
What do you?
I don't know.
deep into social media. We on Facebook, a particular media page went that we're now bringing a new product where you're going to be walking, so you can just order someone to walk with you.
I think I saw it.
But it was an April Fool's joke.
But I didn't pay attention to it.
It's an April Fool's joke.
And there you have it. We're talking about April, or rather Fool's Day today. And let's get on to a couple songs, and when we get back, we'll just share with you about the stories. Since you're coming up on the show, don't worry, we are not doing any April Fool's jokes today.
We actually kind of are. You are coming through to call us or text us a joke. You're trying to make us laugh. You are trying to make us the fools.
Does it sound nice, though? Maybe you can practice.
Maybe you can practice.
We already know, right?
So long as it doesn't involve insults, you can call us and you can practice.
Alright, so let's just get to this.
Radio Gun, FM Radio, MyTuner, online radio box, and Simple Radio. And stay connected to Laga FM wherever you are. Laga FM 103.3. It's all good.
Imoda che scondi? Unga wasila.
Ma che bene hapa.
Not bana unga wasila.
Nipase kukaribia.
Musiba. Mukala wasila. Unga chuma mradio. Muzachone mwamune.
Wake up, Zambia. It's time to win on the Lager Breakfast Show. Walk away with a bag of Mill. 5 questions.
Guys, panganda bali ba. Ama guys, babili bare.
Answer 5 quick questions.
No, you want to
And you instantly win yourself a bag of gold. Tune in, call in, and play to win. Only on your number 1 radio station. Lager 103.3 FM. The rhythm of Lucy.
I just wanted to get to
Then
I didn't really have focus yes. So I remember he told me to sit, pray about it so that I get direction from God. So that is how I had time with God, of course, prayed about it. So now when you look at the 2 albums, Chikondi and the It's Alright album, I think it has a mix of everything. There is rumba, there is worship, there is Kalindula, there is almost everything. Yeah, there is almost everything. Afro beats, there is almost everything. Like, I know, right? Like, okay, I can sing, so yeah, let me do this, let me do that. But when you listen to the altar, it's actually very, very different from these 2 albums, in that it brings out the real me, my passion, and what I'm called for. So when you get to listen to the altar, it's more of worship, and I think that is what actually reflects me.
So when did you start writing the altar? So it's like 2020, 2022.
Okay, so some of the songs there, I personally wrote them. Some of them I co-wrote them with my husband and friends, family, and others. People just wrote for me.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to know the writing period before, because the album was released in 2023. And the writing period, like 5 years from like 2020, sorry, from 2019 maybe to like 2023.
So maybe we can say 20 from my songs.
Yeah.
I think most of the songs are way recent. Yeah, maybe 3 years older, 3 years to the release. Yeah, 3 years to the release. Yes, most of them were recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Altar album was released 2023, and now we get into 2024. 2024 you didn't release it.
No, 2024 I didn't release anything. 2024 I was working on promoting the project. Exactly.
And how did that go in your view? Because every artist is like, what they want, what they envision, as far as promoting as well as the same.
Oh yeah. So So I got into promoting the project, and I think it paid because one of the songs, You Are Bigger, got me an award, an Olives Award.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the best gospel songs of that year. That was, I think, 2024. Yeah, 2024. Yeah, so, yeah, I think I got to push. I got to live in the resurrection power. Automatically, you're going to live in boldness. What do you think? Like, what do you see background?
Background.
That they are heading to, and it's the capital under pressure. Siamo Mazoho.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. 2025 you win the 2024 you win the award. And 2025. 2025 you didn't release it.
No.
I was like a silent chick. Why?
Okay, so you can call it silent here, but not really silent because I was working in the background. The whole lot of 2025, I've actually been in the studio.
Wow.
And that's why we have that
That's
song
good news.
today. Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news. For us listeners, because we don't know what's happening in the background. So when an artist is not like releasing music to us, maybe silent and stuff like that. Then 2026, you started with the band. Two singles 2026.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And the fact that the whole of 2025 you are writing, how did you navigate? Okay, this is the song that we're going to open the year with. Let's use this song, or maybe let's start with this song.
Okay, so for me, I think I just wanted to continue reintroducing myself to the people, and especially the album that I had previously released, because we just released it as a whole like this, like boom. So this time around we're like, okay, let's give people each piece so that at least they can relate to the album.
The album.
Exactly. That is what we started doing.
Okay.
So that is where the two songs are coming from.
Alright, so the first song was titled Do It.
Do it. Do it.
Do it or do
Yo.
it?
Do it.
Do it. What does it mean?
Do it. Do it means it's you. So in this case, it's you, my healer. It's you, my provider. It's you, my do it stronger.
Do it stronger. It's like
Chitonga.
Chitonga. I was like, do it or do it. Okay, alright. I'm surprised. I'm like, she's coming from Kasama, so I'm expecting like Bemba. And I started on trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so do it. You did a performance video. By the way, if you that's why I'm having this conversation, you can go to YouTube. It's Choice Stadium. And I'm not sure I subscribe. Watch the amazing videos that she has on the channel. So do it came first. This year, there's been as far as the visuals on this.
Yes.
Do it. I'm seeing there's an artist who is featured. Simon.
That's Simon.
Yeah, how did the collaboration come about?
Simon happens to be a friend of ours
Okay.
who is now family, friends to family.
Yeah, family.
Yes. So we usually sing together. So on this particular song, I just asked him if we could do something.
Okay.
And that's how we accepted.
Wow. That's awesome. I love everything about the song. And I often tell people that, I don't know if it's just me, but worship is different with your local language, like your mother tongue.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it carries weight, when you talk about like, it carries more weight. I don't know if it's just me. So this is the first song. Then there was another one that was released yesterday. Brand new song. Brand new song.
Yes.
This is the visuals of brand new visuals.
Oh,
That
is on YouTube. Tell me about the other song.
Okay, the brand new song?
Yes.
Okay, so the song was written by Pastor Meshach Miranda. He's based in the Copper Belt.
Okay.
Then he was in Rundazi. This song just reflects how there is power in praise and worship. And the scripture that comes to my mind is Psalm 22, verse 3, where the Bible says that he inhabits the praises of his people. And this is exactly what this song actually portrays. He inhabits the praises of his people. He lives where praise is. He dwells where praise is. That is where God resides. And what happens when this is where God resides? He takes charge.
That's true.
He's the judge of all.
Yeah. This takes me to also the New Testament where Paul Silas, worshipped and praised God.
Yeah.
And then the gates of the jail cell or the prison, they were opened as well.
Yes. So what happens when we praise God? He comes down and he takes charge of our situation. So this is what the song means.
Okay. Tengani ulamulilo.
Tengani ulamulilo.
Okay.
Take control.
Take control.
That is what it is.
So that's like this is Chiwa.
That is Chiwa.
How many languages can you speak? How many languages can you speak?
A bit of maybe 2, 3. Just a bit, like
You say that Tonga is Chiwa is Bemba, so
Nyanja.
so it's like 4. That's
Okay.
awesome. Then in this song, I'm seeing another featured artist, Jacob.
Jacob.
Yeah, how did that come about?
Okay, so Jacob is my husband.
Wow.
I actually heard this song from him.
Okay.
Yes, I actually heard this song from him in Kasama when he was leading praise and worship, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I remember how this song just cut deep in my spirit, and
During the praise and worship.
yes,
Were you on
yes.
stage?
I was on stage. Yes, so it all started from rehearsal, definitely. Rehearsal, church, that is service.
Welcome to my channel.
And then after that, we started
Don't
talking
forget to subscribe.
about this song.
So just a simple setup for the
that's how
for the
I have
background
it featured
system.
Featured on the
They
the song.
get
Wow,
here on the
amazing.
big
How
subwoofer.
does the writing process?
Also, the single
towards
thing
me
is
and that, is your husband,
and these
How does
16
it
cents
go?
speakers.
Do you say, okay,
Also the
this is
features
a time where we need
for
to
this
write a song,
this
maybe
is what
we need to perfect the
I'm
song,
having here.
and
So
also
this
the
is
notes,
still
how do you balance him
exclusive
saying no, you saying yes to a certain thing and stuff like that? How does that go?
Also
Okay, so when
these
it
are
comes to
Sony
writing, so sometimes,
door speakers.
actually most of the times, if not all the times, if I have a song,
Yeah,
I would
it is
actually
here.
bring it to him, and he will have a look at it, and
We are teaching
he's
into
going
what?
to give me ideas. And when it comes to just writing, sometimes we would just co-write. We are the people to be most of all pitied.
You're the psalmist. One Zambia, one nation.
Who also have this guarantee.
Well, it is common in the Western Hemisphere. So Canada, Mexico, many of the countries of South and Central America have a similar rule. And it's incredibly consequential for the United States because it was added to our Constitution after the Civil War. And it was intended, and they said this at the time, but to ensure the former slaves were treated fully as members, full citizens of the society. And they explicitly said that children of immigrants coming from all over the world would be treated as full citizens. That was their intention, and that's what they said. So it's very consequential to our nation of immigrants.
Why do you think that most other countries, especially not those in the West, have chosen not to go down this route?
Well, some countries have abandoned birthright citizenship in response to pressures from political pressures resulting from immigration. So England, pulled back on its birthright citizenship rule. But I'll also add that countries like France are much more lenient than the United States would be if this executive order became a law. So if you're born in France and remain there, you become automatically a citizen even if your parents are undocumented. That's not what this executive order says. It's much harsher than that. Those children in the United States would never be citizens.
That was Professor Amanda Frost there from the University of Virginia. You're listening to the BBC World Service. This is News Hour. About the situation that's happening at their school. And they're reconstructing the same drainage system. Unfortunately, someone would failing and he lost his life. So as a student, you also you'd be worried. As like, what if it was me? It was really sad when we got more worried. So they did take you to the streets, and from what I noticed near our kids, there was no violence, okay? There was no violence involved, but the police were on the scene, so everyone is just moving as they should have, just chanting, of course, what was happening around their school. So these are the two stories that we have for you. Coming up next is our Malka question, so you do need to stay tuned.
Access and obey. Malka FM 103.3, Malka FM 103.3. I told you.
Jesus boldly right now. How can... Yes, no, I'm asking you this as a purpose. I don't preach so much sharing Jesus boldly, but now for that person who's finally perhaps understanding the resurrection, the power of the resurrection of Christ, a whole lot better now. They say, okay, I'm ready to share Jesus boldly, but then how? How can they do that? What do you, Israel?
Me, I'm talking to my fellow young people. My personal experience of this subject of resurrection is I have like had questions in my life that I've asked greatly about life, and I'm still asking, but Jesus Christ has been the greatest answer for any question that I never found an answer for, of which he was the answer and I just didn't know it. So if you ask me, you have the opportunity to use the few years ahead of you to still look for the answers, but then you won't find anything else except that after you have put your dots together, you're still going to come back to Jesus Christ. And so a conversation around the resurrection power of Jesus Christ is that the only most important thing you need to know is that Jesus Christ died for you. He rose again for you, and the resurrection power that is showcased, or that is revealed on the cross, is the power of his Father bringing him back to life, and it is also available for you. So me bringing you to the light, or me bringing you to Jesus Christ, is me giving you the assurance that whatever happens to Jesus is automatically your birthright, it is automatically your inheritance. But it is not even conditional, it is only privileged to you except that you are in him. So you have to come to him, you have to be in him, so that you can experience the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Everything else you achieve on earth, you will leave behind. You found it and it will remain behind. But then you can find your heavenly treasures that you stored up in heavenly places in Christ, in resurrection. So join us. Join the winning team. Yeah.
Sounds like a network market.
Join us. There is this statement I usually make that people will believe what we say when they die. Like they will believe everything we preach when they are already dead. Like we will see who was telling the truth when they die.
Yeah. For today, I'm enjoying me right now. And we're hoping, because even God's desire, as is written in Scripture, is that everyone must come to repentance.
Yeah.
Even though unfortunately there's some whose hearts will be hardened simply because they just don't want to. But it's His desire to see all saved. So be a part of that desire of Christ. Okay, we gotta go. So we're breaking off for the second hour. When we come back, we'll be in the third and final hour, and we'll be praying. We'll be praying. We'll be playing Truth or Trap. No, it's not. We breathe the beats we've spoken, and Lord, is this share Jesus boldly? And we're asking that question. If somebody, an unbeliever to be specific, asked you,
has been losing its edge against other leagues like the Premier League, for example, and unfortunately the focus on getting results quickly has overtaken the project. However, there have been also some bad choices in recent years. Italy have changed 5 managers in less than 5 years, and they always seem to find a solution off the cuff rather than following a project. But most of all, I think the problem lies with the fact that Italian players and young Italian players are not playing in the Italy top flight anymore. Only 3 out of 10 in Serie A are Italians, and unfortunately that resulted in a very poor qualifying campaign.
Do you think now, because of these consecutive misses of getting into the World Cup, there's essentially a whole generation of young Italians who haven't grown up seeing Italy play on the world stage in that competition? What's that doing for the place of football in Italian society?
The football is becoming less and less popular, and I think that it's a fair representation of where the alliances of young people are. Italy are excelling many other sports, from a world #1 in tennis with Yannick Sinner to Kimi Antonelli winning 2 Formula 1 Grand Prix. Even Italy cricket team has been at the World Cup recently. We're not a cricket nation by any stretch of imagination. The baseball team, the Winter Olympics, and I think this is good. This is healthy. It shows that, of course, young people are approaching other sports that perhaps offer better infrastructure and better project, whereas football is lagging behind. But it's a systemic issue. If you do go and watch football in Italy, the stadiums are crumbling. They're old. And to build new stadiums, it takes such an amount, such an effort, and such bureaucracies that sometimes investors just want to step away. And that obviously doesn't increase participation. And the problem is that the World Cup is such a defining moment for generations. These are really moments when everyone comes together. And most of all, Italy is an aging population. The birth rate is one of the lowest in the world, so there are even fewer young people as well. Of course, unless there is a proper project to bring them into that. Italy is going to be in the echelons of the Bosnia, of the North Macedonia, or the Sweden of these worlds, the 3 nations that have knocked us out, and that would have considered probably lesser nations.
Do you think that Italians will still tune into the World Cup this summer? It's such a massive feature of the season otherwise, isn't it?
It depends which sort of fans we're looking at. The casual fans, no, I don't think they do. They probably tune into the latter stages, but there is really no other sympathy for any other nation that competes in the World Cup. So I'm talking about your mild to detached fans. No, they wouldn't. So I'm not sure that that sense of collectiveness of watching the World Cup is going to be replicated. You think about people doing the world charts or doing the sweepstakes at work. There's nothing like this. So it's not just a tournament. It goes really beyond. And unfortunately, at the moment in Italy, it's more about the inquest and which heads have to roll and which person need to resign, rather than thinking who's playing well at the World Cup.
That was Daniele Fisichella there, an Italian football journalist, talking to me earlier, reflecting on his country's failure to qualify for the World Cup for the third time in a row and what that means for Italian football. Well, that is all from us here at NewsHour, from me, Naila Nafi, and all of the team at the BBC World Service. Thanks for listening.
And they did try or shall we say, I don't want to say it was a year old, but when the first women were being recruited in Zambia, Zambia Army, so this was the first time Zambian women were joined the army. And that was in the 1970s. I just don't know which year, but I do believe it was in the 1970s when women were introduced to the army. And it was 1969. Yes, that was the first time women were being recruited in the
Nice.
Yes.
1969?
1969. Yes, but the first woman...
And they were wearing skins, I guess, you remember? No, shorts.
Yes. I think it was one of our founding fathers and the vice president of the time, Simon Moscow, who actually changed the regalia for women and men in police.
Bagamba. Ya bari tana in kana wurin. Acha inda. Musmaya tare ko pere zora zora. Eh. Akan full. Kana ba serious. Bani ni ndio kugani wa acha. Acha kudala. Babu tumira ko.
Un constat qui cache une réalité plus sombre sur le terrain. La semaine dernière, la filière automobile des Hauts-de-France, qui concentre la moitié de la production française, tirait la sonnette d'alarme dans un livre blanc qui soulignait les difficultés du secteur et les tensions sur l'emploi en raison d'une transition vers l'électrique toujours difficile. Le gouvernement doit présenter la semaine prochaine son plan d'électrification de l'économie face au prix élevé des hydrocarbures importés depuis le début de la guerre au Moyen-Orient. Le Premier ministre Sébastien Lecornu souhaite accélérer et suggère notamment de financer cette électrification par les surplus de recettes fiscales sur les carburants.
Ce mercredi avec une trentaine de ministres conviés à Matignon. Réunion à l'issue de laquelle la porte-parole et ministre déléguée à l'énergie, Maud Bréjon, est restée prudente quant à des mesures d'allègement à court terme de la facture des usagers. Elle a juste laissé entendre que les métiers du soin, comme les infirmiers libéraux qui utilisent beaucoup leur voiture, pourraient prochainement aider. L'énergie, Emmanuel Macron a aussi parlé au Japon. Ce mercredi passant avec la première ministre Sanae Takaichi, le président français a évoqué la coopération face à la crise énergétique actuelle. Avant cela, devant des chefs d'entreprise et des investisseurs japonais, le président français a vanté la prévisibilité de l'Europe. Nous sommes là où vous savez que nous irons. Une critique en creux de Donald Trump, accusé, sans être nommé, d'avoir lancé une guerre sans prévenir ses alliés qui en subissent pourtant les conséquences économiques. La compagnie ferroviaire espagnole Renfe annonce qu'elle suspend son projet de liaison à grande vitesse entre l'Espagne et Paris, notamment en raison de problèmes d'homologation de ses trains. Par contre, elle maintient ses lignes déjà existantes jusqu'à Lyon et Marseille. L'Espagne, où la police catalane annonce l'ouverture d'une enquête sur les chants islamophobes et xénophobes entendus hier lors du match amical de football entre l'Espagne et l'Égypte. C'était à Barcelone. Chant condamné par le ministre de la Justice, la Fédération espagnole de football ou encore le sélectionneurs espagnols. Direction maintenant l'Inde, le pays le plus peuplé au monde, qui lance aujourd'hui son recensement national, un recensement colossal évidemment. Pour se faire 3 millions d'agents pour sillonner le territoire à l'encontre de 1,4 milliard d'habitants. Une opération indispensable puisque les recensements permettent de cartographier les réalités sociales et économiques et d'ajuster les politiques de développement, comme nous l'explique à New Delhi Abdoulaye Rali.
L'Inde engage aujourd'hui un chantier administratif monumental pour recenser 1,4 milliard d'habitants. Qui sont mobilisés. Ce recensement sur le territoire indien s'étalera jusqu'à l'année prochaine. Le véhicule de la population est prévu. Ce 16e recensement reprend la tradition. Il réintroduit le décompte des castes depuis 1931, sujet sensible, controversé, mais jugé nécessaire par les autorités pour mieux cibler les programmes sociaux. L'enjeu est aussi électoral. Ces chiffres serviront à redessiner la carte politique du pays. Les États du Nord, les plus peuplés et bastions du parti au pouvoir, le BJP de Narendra Modi, pourraient obtenir davantage de sièges au Parlement au détriment du Sud. Enfin, fondamentalement, ce recensement déterminera le plan stratégique de développement de ce pays qui se présente déjà.
Agenda 16h10, oui. À Paris, c'est l'heure de retrouver Anne-Cécile Brun. C'est pas du vent. Retrouvez ce vendredi sur RFI. Tout ça.
Et je vous emmène cette semaine à Birmingham chez l'écrivain R.J. Avery à l'occasion de la publication de son nouveau roman. L'auteur britannique m'a reçu à son domicile où il m'a révélé ses secrets d'écriture. Un sinon pour le parler.
Littérature sans frontières.
C'est pas du vent sur RFI. Anne-Cécile Brun. Bonjour à tous, nous sommes mercredi, nous sommes ravis de vous retrouver de C'est pas du vent. Et aujourd'hui, nous allons parcourir et commenter l'actualité environnementale internationale avec Anne-Laure Prévost. Bonjour Anne-Laure. Bonjour. Vous êtes journaliste environnement au quotidien Le Figaro. Pour les journalistes de RFI, avec nous dans ce studio 41, il y a Igor Fauss et Lucille Jambert du service environnement climat. Bonjour à tous les deux.
Bonjour Anne-Cécile.
Quel courage. Souillon de la rédaction vietnamienne. Sébastien Bonivol, coordinateur de RFI. Bonjour Sébastien. Nos super clubs d'auditeurs toujours présents sur l'environnement. Alors, en une phrase, de quoi allez-vous chacun nous parler? Alors, vous allez nous emmener c'est ça, je vais prendre de la hauteur et vous parler d'ensemencement des nuages. Voilà, vous verrez, c'est extrêmement passionnant. Lucille Jambert.
Qui butine et ça se passe en Afrique.
Voilà, surprenant. Igor Fauss.
Je tentais de répondre à une question. Les crises sanitaires, économiques, écologiques peuvent-elles favoriser l'agroécologie?
Bien, nous espérons tous que oui, Zuidon.
Moi, je vais parler des impacts de la population et des vagues de chaleur de plus en plus fréquentes et intenses sur l'emploi et les revenus des travailleurs au Vietnam.
Et Sébastien Bonivol, vous nous emmenez où?
Je vais vous emmener en République démocratique du Congo, qui sont gagnés, où justement ce c'est lancé le défi de sensibiliser et former les jeunes à l'agriculture biologique.
Fantastique. Et puis le film hip-hop nous emmènera en Norvège, dans la région de Tromsø. Des scientifiques se mobilisent pour la protection d'une forêt d'algues sous-marines. Merci de passer cette heure avec nous. Vous avez le programme.
C'est pas du vent, le magazine de
bien commencer cette émission parce que vous avez donné, surpris, parfois agacé dans l'actualité. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il y a de
Je ne sais pas si c'est surprenant. La science se heurte à la politique et ça se passe du côté du GIEC, le groupe d'experts du climat mandaté par l'ONU, qui est un peu censé être le temple du consensus scientifique. Ces membres étaient réunis la semaine dernière à Bangkok et ils se sont écharpés sur une question clé, celle du calendrier de leur prochain rapport. Alors, avec
avec d'un côté les pays qui veulent que ce rapport soit publié en 2028, soit avant le prochain bilan mondial de l'action climatique qui doit être fait cette même année dans le cadre de l'accord de Paris. L'idée étant donc que la science vienne soutenir et éclairer ce bilan. Et de l'autre côté, certains pays refusent de lier ce calendrier scientifique aux négociations climat et veulent pousser ce rapport à 2029. Alors parmi eux, il y a la Russie, l'Arabie Saoudite et surtout l'Inde qui doit justement accueillir la COP en 2028. Face à ce bras de fer qui dure depuis des mois, la France a exprimé hier sa vive préoccupation, rappelant, je cite, que tout retard dans la prise en compte des données scientifiques compromettrait gravement l'action climatique à l'échelle mondiale.
Et nous ne sommes pas surpris des pays qui souhaitent décaler la date de la publication du rapport du GIEC, ce qui fait leur économie pour la plupart des énergies fossiles.
Je ne sais pas.
Ouais, il semblerait. Lucille Gimbert, votre étonnement?
Mon étonnement, c'est le bébé oiseau le mieux protégé du monde. Alors ça se passe en Inde. Il s'agit d'une jeune outarde à tête noire. Pas moins de 50 agents de protection de faune veillent sur elle. L'outarde à tête noire, vous ne savez peut-être pas à quoi ça ressemble. Ça s'appelle aussi grande outarde indienne. Ça ressemble à une petite autruche, mais elle est capable de voler. Et elle est en danger critique d'extinction, victime des humains, encore une fois, et d'autres prédateurs. Et il en reste que 150 individus à l'état sauvage dans les déserts de l'ouest de l'Inde. Il y a donc eu d'importants efforts qui ont été lancés par les autorités pour remettre sur pied ou tenter de le faire cette espèce. Un œuf fertilisé en laboratoire vient d'être, tenez-vous bien, transporté pendant 19 heures sur près de 800 km.
Budget carbone de petit œuf.
Pour aller rejoindre un état, donc il est parti d'un élevage de l'état du Rajasthan pour aller jusqu'à l'état du Gujarat. Objectif qu'il soit couvé par une femelle à l'état sauvage dans le désert du Kutch. Et cela a marché. La jeune outarde est sortie de l'œuf il y a 6 jours et les agents de protection donc de la nature la gardent désormais constamment à l'œil pour éviter qu'elle ne soit dévorée par
C'est-à-dire que la femelle à l'état sauvage a accepté de couver un œuf qui n'était pas le sien.
Oui, parce qu'elle avait eu un œuf qui n'était pas viable.
J'étais à la fois étonnée et choquée d'apprendre qu'en France, on est de plus en plus contaminé au cadmium, principalement via l'alimentation. La France est l'un des pays les plus touchés d'Europe. Une nouvelle étude de l'Agence nationale de sécurité sanitaire et de l'alimentation, de l'environnement et du travail en 2025, près de 50% des adultes français présentent déjà un niveau de cadmium supérieur aux valeurs toxicologiques de référence. Le cadmium est un métal lourd sans goût ni odeur, naturellement présent dans les sols, mais classé toxique, dangereux, mutagène et cancérogène. Pourtant, on le retrouve dans nos aliments quotidiens, pommes, pâtes, céréales, pommes de terre. Et Santé publique France avait déjà tiré la sonnette d'alarme en 2021, mais depuis, ce sujet est resté sous le radar et aucune mesure gouvernementale n'a été prise.
Oui, alors que de nombreux décideurs politiques ont été alertés sur cette pollution. Igor Strauss.
Donc vous savez que le GPL, il émet 10 à 20% de moins de CO2 que l'essence ou le diesel.
Il faut rappeler ce que c'est peut-être.
Le GPL, c'est le gaz voilà, pour rouler tout simplement. Il n'émet pas de particules fines et très peu d'oxyde d'azote. Ça, c'est pas mon étonnement. Mon étonnement, c'est que nous venons de Djerba, où avait lieu le sommet sur la désertification, le 6e sommet sur la désertification. Et là-bas, tous les taxis roulent au gaz, mais au gaz à la bonbonne de gaz. Ils sont tous trafiqués en voiture, ils ont la bonbonne de gaz dans le coffre, alors qu'il y a une pénurie de gaz en ce moment à Djerba, et ils roulent au gaz, c'est strictement interdit, mais voilà, ils l'ont fait pour ce qu'on appelle la déco. Et là, je me suis dit, mais les gars sont forts. Ça, c'était mon étonnement.
Alors moi, mon étonnement, c'est qu'à partir de cet été, il y a une nouvelle norme internationale qui obligera les arbres à pousser plus vite en ville pour compenser les émissions de CO2. Certaines municipalités annoncent déjà des arbres express capables de fournir de l'ombre moins de 6 mois. Est-ce que vous avez entendu parler de cette norme? C'est normal, elle n'existe pas, nous sommes le 1er avril. C'était donc un poisson d'avril en vérité. Vous vous doutez bien, tout le monde m'écoutait sagement. Voilà, la nature ne fonctionne pas à la vitesse des décisions humaines. Protéger l'environnement, ça demande du temps et des actions bien concrètes.
Le club du vent sur RFI. Des questions, des témoignages, des idées, écrivez-nous à @rfi.fr. Alors Frémont, le 29 mars, c'était la journée des nuages et pour le Figaro, vous êtes intéressé à un sujet assez peu connu du grand public, c'est l'ensemencement des nuages. Alors de quoi s'agit-il ?
Alors, à qui appartiennent les nuages? C'est vrai que la question peut paraître étrange, et pourtant, depuis des décennies, des pays tentent de les maîtriser et les nuages sont en fait devenus un véritable enjeu géopolitique. Alors, un nuage, c'est de la vapeur d'eau qui se fixe sur des particules en suspension. Les poussières ou le pollen servent par exemple de noyau pour former des gouttes, des cristaux de glace qui retombent ensuite sous forme de pluie ou de grêle. Avec l'ensemencement, on ajoute des particules artificielles dans le nuage et pour cela, on diffuse par exemple, la plupart du temps, de l'iodure d'argent en l'envoyant soit par avion ou par drone ou depuis des générateurs au sol. Donc avec pour objectif de déclencher la pluie ou de réduire la taille des grêlons.
Alors c'est une pratique qui est plus étendue que ce que nous pourrions penser.
Oui, en fait la technique elle est apparue dès les années 40 aux États-Unis et elle a fait scandale pendant la guerre du Vietnam quand les Américains ont mené plus de 2000 opérations d'ensemencement pour augmenter les pluies de mousson. Ils voulaient ainsi ralentir les déplacements ennemis en rendant les pistes et les routes impraticables. Alors aujourd'hui, on l'ignore souvent, mais des dizaines de pays y ont recours officiellement ou plus discrètement. En Europe, notamment en France, on l'utilise surtout contre la grêle, pour protéger notamment les vignes ou les vergers. Dans le Sahel, comme au Niger, mais aussi au Moyen-Orient, on fait venir la pluie pour lutter contre la sécheresse. En Russie, on cherche à éviter qu'il pleuve, par exemple lors des défilés officiels. Et puis la Chine. Alors, la Chine, c'est vraiment le leader mondial en la matière. Elle investit massivement pour faire pleuvoir sur des zones stratégiques. Selon la chercheuse de l'IRSEM, Marine de Guglielmo-Weber, que j'ai pu joindre la semaine dernière, Pékin est même en train de construire un champ de générateurs de pluie grand comme 3 fois l'Espagne sur le plateau tibétain.
C'est gigantesque. Alors l'ensemencement des nuages, c'est quand même une source de tension diplomatique.
Oui, alors depuis la fin de la guerre du Vietnam, justement, une convention de l'ONU, la convention interdit de modifier l'environnement militaire. Au-delà de ça, rien n'encadre vraiment l'ensemencement des nuages à des fins civiles. Alors en Inde, par exemple, certains responsables se sont publiquement inquiétés ces dernières années du rôle potentiel du voisin chinois dans l'augmentation de certaines catastrophes naturelles. En Iran, des responsables ont déjà accusé Israël d'être à l'origine de sécheresse. Et il faut dire que sur les réseaux sociaux, après certains désastres climatiques, les théories du complot fleurissent pour accuser les voisins et elles finissent parfois par séduire certains dirigeants. Bref, le nuage devient en fait un objet de méfiance diplomatique.
Mais est-ce que ça marche vraiment d'ensemencer les nuages?
Enfin, est-ce que ça marche vraiment? Le consensus scientifique est pour le moins fragile. Ça marche un peu, mais pas du tout. Dans certains cas bien précis, on a observé une augmentation des pluies de l'ordre de 10 à 15%, mais il est très difficile de distinguer l'effet de cette technique de la variabilité naturelle de la météo. Et on ne peut jamais savoir avec certitude ce qui se serait produit sans cet ensemencement. Et puis c'est tout bête, mais pour réaliser cette technique, il faut un nuage. Et ça, on ne sait pas encore les créer.
Alors est-ce que les risques environnementaux de l'ensemencement des nuages sont bien évalués?
Alors, pendant des décennies, les autorités ont estimé que les risques étaient négligeables, alors peut-être aussi parce que la technique n'était pas si répandue, car les quantités d'iodure d'argent diffusées restent généralement en dessous des seuils réglementaires. Mais on sait déjà que ce composé est potentiellement toxique pour la vie aquatique, notamment pour les animaux à sang froid comme les poissons ou les grenouilles. Et on n'a pas vraiment non plus évalué les risques d'effets cocktail, ces derniers temps, donc les effets cocktails avec d'autres polluants comme certains pesticides. Donc en fait on manque de données solides pour confirmer que la pratique est sans danger, c'est pourquoi des chercheurs réclament des études plus complètes sur la biodiversité, les sols et la santé humaine, d'où aussi les appels à mieux encadrer cette technique.
Lutter contre la grêle, faire tomber la pluie, quand maîtriser les nuages devient un enjeu géopolitique, c'est un article à lire sur le Figaro.fr. Igor Strauss, vous voulez réagir?
Vous savez que Jakarta est la capitale est saturée, donc ils se construisent une nouvelle ville. J'ai oublié le nom de la ville, c'est une nouvelle capitale indonésienne. Donc ils ont rasé des forêts. Voilà, et du coup, pendant la mousson, les travaux ne vont pas assez vite, et donc le gouvernement n'a trouvé rien de mieux que d'ensemencer les nuages pour faire pleuvoir à côté de la capitale, la future capitale, pour que les travaux puissent avancer davantage. Alors c'est du technosolutionnisme, je trouve ça un petit peu aberrant, mais voilà, en Indonésie, ils le pratiquent énormément pour faire avancer les travaux de construction de cette nouvelle capitale.
Voilà, les auditeurs jugeront. Dans un instant, avec le film hip-hop, nous vous emmènerons au Nord-Bel, dans la région de Tromsø, où des scientifiques se mobilisent pour préserver une forêt sous-marine. Et d'abord, voici la chanteuse américaine Lizzo, Good as an Air. Vous savez, c'est un réseau de divers amateurs qui recueillent des témoignages auprès de leurs proches sur la dégradation de leur environnement. Et c'est une chronique de Caroline Fillette. Aujourd'hui, direction Tromsø, ville portuaire située au nord de la Norvège. Il y a près de 200 ans, Charles Darwin s'émerveillait déjà des forêts marines de kelp, ces grandes algues brunes également connues sous le nom de laminaires ou varech. Aujourd'hui, le réchauffement des eaux marines est à l'origine de nombreux épisodes de mortalité massive de ces grandes algues, fragilisant tout l'écosystème marin. En Norvège, des scientifiques se mobilisent pour tenter de restaurer ces forêts. C'est le sujet de ce reportage hip-hop signé Antoine Triboté, intitulé La disparition des forêts sous-marines, et dont nous allons écouter un extrait.
Les forêts de la mer, ici, accompagnent 400 espèces. La biodiversité est très importante. Et ces forêts ont disparu il y a une cinquantaine d'années. Ont été remplacées par en un temps très court, on est passé de ces forêts très riches en biodiversité à des déserts biologiques. Le défi qu'on s'est lancé ici, avec la participation de volontaires, c'est de retrouver ces forêts de laminaires.
Bonjour Antoine.
Bonjour.
Merci d'être avec nous pour nous présenter ce film hip-hop réalisé en 2024. Qu'est-ce qui vous a donné envie de réaliser ce film sur ce sujet en Norvège?
Eh bien, c'est lié à une rencontre avec Delphin Rucher, qui est un biologiste français qui est parti vivre en Norvège depuis une dizaine d'années. Et lorsqu'il a créé l'ONG RISA Citizen Science, il m'a invité à passer une semaine avec lui. Il m'a invité en fait à participer à ces expériences de préservation et de restauration écologique. Et notamment, j'ai eu la chance de plonger dans une eau à 4 degrés pour aller observer ces forêts sous-marines.
Alors, pouvez-vous justement nous expliquer à quoi ressemblent ces algues et pour quelles raisons elles sont indispensables à la bonne santé de l'écosystème marin?
Alors, ce sont des laminaires, donc des algues qui ont une forme allongée et qui peuvent mesurer jusqu'à 4 à 5 mètres de hauteur dans ces eaux froides de Norvège. En fait, ce qui est assez remarquable, c'est qu'elles absorbent d'immenses quantités de CO2, elles rejettent également par photosynthèse des grandes quantités d'oxygène. Elles vont lutter contre l'érosion, elles vont absorber l'énergie des tempêtes, également des zones tampons chimiques. Elles vont par exemple capter l'azote qui pourrait être rejeté dans les rivières ou dans le littoral. Et puis enfin, ce sont des zones de biodiversité incroyables. Moi, en plongeant, effectivement, j'ai pu voir vraiment plein de couleurs, plein de formes. C'est vraiment des refuges qui sont aussi extrêmement importants pour l'écosystème.
Alors, qu'est-ce qui explique leur disparition depuis 50 ans? On pense évidemment au réchauffement climatique, mais il n'y a pas que cela.
Alors, en Norvège, la cause principale qui est identifiée, c'est la surpêche. Concrètement, la surpêche entraîne effectivement une diminution des populations de poissons, qui sont des prédateurs des oursins. Et les oursins, qui sont dans des grandes densités sur ces littoraux, entraînent ensuite une diminution donc, des populations de laminaires. En fait, c'est toute la chaîne alimentaire qui est déséquilibrée par la surpêche. On observe des déserts biologiques en fait, qui se forment avec uniquement des oursins qui résistent à ce déséquilibre.
Alors l'un des aspects très positifs de votre film, il faut le souligner, c'est l'engouement des volontaires pour aider les scientifiques à restaurer cette forêt d'algues. Concrètement, ça se passe comment?
Delphin Rucher va organiser plusieurs campagnes en fait, de plongée avec une quinzaine de volontaires, donc citoyens et citoyennes, habitants et habitantes de la ville. qui vont donc du coup plonger et tenter de remettre un peu en place l'équilibre entre oursins et algues.
Alors, avez-vous eu des nouvelles de Delphin Rucher récemment et où en est-il de ce projet? Est-il toujours aussi confiant par rapport à ce projet de restauration, justement?
Ben là, il y a un premier site qui a été restauré en 2024 et qui montre effectivement vraiment un succès, donc vraiment une université retrouvée. Un deuxième site a été ouvert en 2025 et pareil, hein, c'est tout à fait visible au fait que la restauration a un impact positif. Ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'avec ces forêts de laminaires, la réponse en fait, de l'écosystème est très rapide. Donc en fait, on va pouvoir observer en quelques semaines une reprise rapide de la végétation. Donc c'est assez gratifiant effectivement pour les volontaires qui vont participer à ces actions.
Merci beaucoup Antoine pour votre éclairage.
Merci à vous, bonne journée.
Et merci à Caroline Fillette et à Gaël Flogère qui anime la communauté hip-hop avec Max Ball de RFI, Planète Radio et les chercheurs de l'IRD, l'Institut de la Recherche pour le Développement. RFI émet en 16 langues et dans chaque rédaction, il y a un journaliste référent sur l'environnement. Nous leur donnons la parole dans C'est pas du monde. Souidong, avec plus de 3200 km de côte du nord au sud, le Vietnam est l'un des pays les plus vulnérables au changement climatique. Alors pour la rédaction vietnamienne de RFI, vous êtes intéressé aux impacts sur l'emploi de la pollution et des vagues de chaleur qui sont de plus en plus fréquentes et intenses.
Oui, cette année, d'après les services météorologiques, la canicule devrait apparaître plus tôt, durer plus longtemps et être plus intense que la moyenne pluriannuelle, voire même plus sévère qu'en 2025. Plusieurs bulletins récents signalent que 2 vagues de chaleur précoces sont prévues au Vietnam ce début avril, avec des pointes possibles à plus de 37 degrés. La pollution de l'air s'aggrave souvent lors des vagues de chaleur. Au-delà des menaces directes sur la santé des habitants, ces conditions extrêmes pèsent également sur l'emploi du Vietnam. L'Agence française de développement mène le programme de recherche sur les impacts socio-économiques du changement climatique au pays et les stratégies d'adaptation. Selon l'économiste Cécilia Bouchy, chargée de recherche protection sociale de l'AFD, la situation aujourd'hui n'est pas encore totalement alarmante, mais vu l'aggravation des vagues de chaleur extrêmes au Vietnam et la multiplication des épisodes de pollution, la question sur ces impacts sur l'offre de travail et les revenus doit être posée.
En général, personne ne quitte pas leur emploi à cause des variations ponctuelles de météo ou de la pollution. Une journée de forte pollution rend de plus le maintien du même nombre de l'impact sur la santé, comme la fatigue ou les troubles respiratoires, ou encore par un ralentissement volontaire du rythme de travail pour des raisons de sécurité. Et nous montrons que les emplois subsistent, mais qu'il y a donc la capacité à travailler avec la même productivité peut-être en particulier une pollution plus intense que la normale.
Selon les données disponibles, une partie des travailleurs se voit contrainte d'allonger sa journée de travail d'environ 1 heure et 5 minutes, tout en subissant une perte de revenus durant ces périodes de conditions extrêmes. Écoutons Célia Bouchy.
Tous les travailleurs ne sont pas exposés de la même manière et notre étude montre qu'ils ne peuvent pas s'adapter de la même façon. Il existe donc une forme d'inégalité face à ces événements. Et l'étude montre que les salariés, qui souvent sont soumis à des horaires fixes, ne peuvent pas facilement rattraper les heures perdues. Et ils ressentent donc l'impact des événements extrêmes et de la pollution davantage que les travailleurs indépendants, qui peuvent répartir leur charge de travail sur plusieurs journées. Un constat intéressant est que les travailleurs en extérieur, bien que plus exposés à ces événements, ils, en effet, sont moins affectés lorsqu'ils sont des indépendants, car ils peuvent réorganiser leurs tâches de travail. Par exemple, des agriculteurs indépendants dans les campagnes ou encore des vendeurs de rue dans les villes. En revanche, lorsque les salariés travaillent à l'extérieur, comme par exemple les travailleurs dans le secteur de la construction, notre étude montre que les effets négatifs sont beaucoup plus marqués.
Alors, ce sont des études qui devraient avoir lieu dans tous les pays du monde, finalement. Alors, face à ces phénomènes, Souidon, quelles sont les recommandations des chercheurs de l'AFD pour le gouvernement vietnamien?
Alors, l'économiste Cécilia Boucher, chargée des recherches de protection sociale de l'AFD, insiste sur l'importance d'envisager un élargissement de mesures de santé et de sécurité au travail.
Le pays pourrait s'inspirer d'autres pays ayant déjà fixé des seuils d'exposition à la pollution de l'air en milieu professionnel. Deuxièmement, les décideurs pourraient tester des mesures d'emploi ciblées pour répondre aux épisodes de forte pollution en tenant compte des profils des travailleurs. Et enfin, une implémentation continue des politiques environnementales déjà en cours servira à améliorer la vie de tout le monde, avec moins d'émissions, plus de transport public durable et aussi plus d'espace. Et sans oublier aussi des enjeux majeurs, comme par exemple la nécessité de limiter l'utilisation des sols et la méthodisation des collectivités d'urbanisation.
Merci Souidon pour ces informations. Dans un instant, Sébastien Bonijol nous parlera des activités environnementales du club RFI de Kisangani en République démocratique du Congo, Lucille Javert d'un loup africain qui butine des fleurs, et Igor Frost nous expliquera comment les crises peuvent favoriser l'écologie. Voici le club des Yes, gratitude sur RFI.
Xenophobic abuse, while the Spanish Football Federation and coach Luis de la Fuente also strongly condemned the behavior. The game was briefly interrupted by stadium warnings telling fans to stop chanting or stop the chants, but the incident has again sparked debate over racism in football. If you remember some of the racism stories we did share, where I had Vinicius Jr., where he was said that he was called the Black Monkey. This happened, it should be last month or the other month. But also taking a look at Manchester United. So their turnaround under the caretaker boss, Michael Carrick, has revived hopes of a Champions League return after a turbulent start to the year. When the former manager Ruben Amorim was dismissed in January, the club appeared destined for another disappointing campaign. But Carrick has guided United to an impressive run. Just one loss in 9 Premier League matches, putting them firmly back in contention. With 7 games left, United need 4 wins and a draw to secure top 5 finish, which could be enough for Champions League qualification if England earns an extra place. So it's a remarkable shift, you know, from the gloom of early January where we had the Morim, and if Carrick's side maintain their form, United could just claim only their 5th top 3 finishes since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. I mean, like, this would be nice. Even now from top 5, top 3, 3, 4, we don't mind. I'm Tatuini, me, on my dear winners Manchester United. It's fine, okay? We take a look at some of the international friendlies that happened. Well, we've seen that Argentina had a final in Zambia nil at full time, was 0-3, Croatia 1. Canada and Tunisia was 0-0 at full time. Then we are seeing Mexico and Belgium with a 1-1. Let's look on the UEFA Women's Champions League. We're seeing Bayern Munich with Manchester United going against each other today at 17:45. Chelsea and Arsenal are also going together. So the FIFA World Qualifying Intercontinental, we're seeing that these are the finals where Iraq and Bolivia went head-to-head and it was a 2-1. So these are some of the games that were happening today that you need to just take a look at them or just look at the highlights for today. That is our sports updates, so right here on Local Sports.
And coming up next at 4:45 p.m. is What's Up TC.
Sports update. Access with Paul and Yobe.
I made that famous. All the girls I get Kanye West. If you see him in the streets, give him Kanye's best. They mad they ain't famous. They mad they still nameless. Mercy that has brought me. Oh yeah. Testimony area, papa nga. Yeah, like pangigo.
0978-069018, the number that you are calling us on. Let's talk to this one. Hello. Hello? Daniel.
Hope you guys just keep your ears glued because they give us a chance to know that right now is the issue of taking over and just showing the potential and the blessing that we've got as well. I think just stay tuned. That's the main thing I'll say.
Yeah, follow our pages. To follow our pages, Indian Music Frequency. Just follow and see what we're all about. You know? Yeah. Definitely.
Please.
Non tu repitana pia masetin.
On this program, I say if Jesus mentioned the sky, then the sky is definitely not the limit for you. We wish you very best as a game. From your selection, which one to sample?
Bro, choose. Maluwa.
All right.
That's our latest tune. Yeah, man.
Right.
If people can just listen to Maluwa, I think they want to listen to more.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we wish you the very best and hope to call on you again on an LP platform.
Thank you very much. Shout out to CB.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, join me on the dance floor as I introduce to you Maluwa from A-Game, and of course I was talking to Kalinda Walia, aka Tourism Painting, James Kangaza, aka King James. Do join us on the other side and keep listening to Public Service Broadcasters and NBC Radio.
Can you feel me? I am Funky Streets. Cause ever since you wrote
Time. Yeah, we've been working on this for 2.5 years now. Me and Jess, my co-writer, when we started, a lot of the beginning stages was just trying to soak in as much as we possibly could. I think at the end of the day, like, I feel strongly for myself that it's important that whatever we create is something that feels like authentic. Like, there's no Elvis doing something he didn't do in this show. You know, we are recreating moments that we know happened in different ways and trying to, you know, I think there's a phrase that the estate have, which is kind of like, what would Elvis do? And I think we've tried to ingest a little bit of that approach too, which is like, think about what is it Elvis loved and what is the theme of the Elvis story, which for me is this theme of the communal music experience.
Do you think as the technology goes on and there's more innovative thinking, there's going to be even more ways to experience artists that no longer hear in sort of different sort of ways?
I think it depends on the property as to like, or the story as to like what is the best medium for it. So some stories I think, you know, can be told best in film, some can be told best in theatre, some can be told best in a book. The reason something like this and perhaps other deceased musicians work really well, I think, in this format is because how else can you come together with people in a live environment and actually experience it? You know, if a musician's alive, you can go and see them play a gig. How do you do it if that's not the case? Like, in the end, it's all about, you know, Elvis was about sharing music with the fans and letting you experience it in an environment together. So in answer to your question, are we going to see more of these things? Yeah, I think we will. I think they'll come in all shapes and sizes. You know, Elvis is one story. You could tell any story. You know, you could do a movie franchise in this format. You could do musical franchise. You could do anything. But I think it's about asking, like, why is this the right medium for that story? And that's where finding the right fit, I think, is the most important.
It was interesting to see what's possible with the stars of the past. But celebrities living are now starting to explore what will happen to their image and work after their death. Here's Jacqueline Dean from the National University in San Diego again.
This is hugely profitable. You know, they're moving around. They're even moving on stages as holograms. Is this something that they would have wanted? Celebrities, I think, are becoming canny about their legacies. And also monetizing their legacies for their heirs. So they can allow their heirs, or whoever owns their rights, to do things with their image and create new performances of them for the future. So they will have eternal life, as long as there's interest in them.
Estates manager Mark Rosler agrees.
You know, celebrities have become in tune to the fact that they have these valuable intellectual property rights that need to be addressed in some way.
It's a murky world. On one hand, we're preserving the legacies of those we love in exciting new ways. On the other, we might be crossing a line into something that's exploitive. But as technology continues to evolve, we'll face more decisions over what we choose to buy from those in the past. I'm Sean Alsop, and this has been Business Daily on the BBC World Service.
Coal is making a comeback as countries struggle with energy costs. It's World Business Express from the BBC World Service. I'm Sarah Rogers. We'll also be looking at more measures being brought in around the world to cut petrol and diesel prices. And from the family garage to a global giant, Apple turns 50. Yes, all that to come, but first...
Right now it's insane.
I mean, hopefully it does not keep going up.
It's just ridiculous. I got this whole war situation. It's just causing everything to go up. It's just causing a havoc on everybody, and we're suffering.
That sentiment being felt in many countries because of mounting fuel costs caused by the war in Iran. We heard there from drivers in the US, but governments across the world continue to announce more measures to try and curb rising prices. In Australia, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese made this rare address to the nation.
Today, we cut the fuel excise in half, cutting the tax on every litre of petrol by 26 cents. Those savings have started showing up at your petrol station. We are working to bring the price of fuel down, to make more fuel here and to keep it on shore.
In Germany, the government has introduced regulations limiting petrol stations to one price increase per day. One taxi driver told the BBC she's close to quitting.
Ja, aber
We're really truly at our limit, and not just us, but some of our colleagues and competitors as well. Some dare to talk about it, but others just don't want to talk about it anymore, because we're really truly reaching the limit. The end.
Das Ende.
The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz suggested that if the war escalates, it could be as bad for the European economy as the COVID pandemic. Today, the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says he'll host around 35 countries tomorrow to discuss ways of getting ships flowing freely through that crucial trade route, the Strait of Hormuz. But in the meantime, could this mean a heavier reliance on the coal industry? Asia is particularly exposed because it relies on imported fuel. South Korea's lifted a cap on electricity generated from coal. The Philippines and Vietnam are boosting coal-fired power. In Europe, Italy has voted to keep coal power stations running for another decade. And that demand's pushing up prices. The commodity's up around 20% over the last month at above $140 per tonne. To look at this in more detail, I've been speaking to Dr. Sandy Pai, who's an energy expert at Duke University in the US.
If you think of large coal producers and users, whether it's China, India, Indonesia, Australia, I mean, they do have huge endowments of coal. They know how to produce coal. They know how to use coal. This is just about growing that sector. This is just about growing that, at least in the short and medium term. So, for example, for a country like India, which is already producing nearly 1 billion tons of coal, to produce a little bit more, say 1,200 tons of coal, although challenging, is less challenging than, starting something completely new.
And what's this doing for the price of coal? Are we going to see prices going up?
In the short and medium term, there will be some exporting countries and companies within that will see a price surge, but I believe that this will stabilize in the future and people will go back to, their aspiration for a low carbon world.
And of course, this comes at a climate cost.
Yeah, 100%. So I think this is a wartime statement. There is no momentum towards it at a global level. In some countries, in non-OECD countries, like India, Indonesia, etc., they might build a few more plants because of this crisis. But when we talk about the fleets and fleets of coal-fired power plants and coal industries in countries like US, in Europe, that's never going to happen. I think there is no finance. Once this crisis subdues, I do strongly believe this is a short-term phenomenon. Whether that short-term is 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, that I think is hard to say.
That was Dr. Sandy Pai. Russ Mould is with me today, Investment Director at AJ Bell. Hello, Russ.
Hello, Sarah.
So Donald Trump has given his latest timetable to end the war in Iran, saying it could be a couple of weeks, having a more positive impact on oil and stocks, isn't it?
It is, coupled with that hopes of the British summit that we may get a peace deal or at least keep the Straits of Hormuz open. So we've seen very positive responses from share markets around the world. In Asia, South Korea and Japan were up 5 to 8%. Europe is up 1 to 3%. America is up as well. We've also seen some more traditional safer assets where investors hide during times of strife. They're going down, so the dollar is going down, and government borrowing costs are going down. That's being helped in turn by oil prices going down to around $100 a barrel. So again, investors think that may help if there's a peace deal and also help to curb inflation. But not everybody's convinced. Gold price is up, and defence shares are still up, for example. So everybody's still keeping a close eye because remember, President Trump has promised before and it's not always delivered.
And we've had some key economic data briefly today showing how this is feeding into manufacturing.
Yes, we've got American manufacturers talking about big cost increases and big price increases. I think you're always having to see an early effects of oil and gas prices, insurance, freight, filtering into other things like consumer goods and food, and that's starting to show, which will be giving central banks plenty to worry about.
Russ Mould from AJ Bell, thank you very much for wrapping that up for us. Cloud computing firm Oracle is cutting thousands of jobs. That's according to senior employees posting online. Some 10,000 people are believed to have lost their jobs so far, one employee told the BBC. The company, which has been spending heavily on AI and had 162,000 full-time employees globally as of May last year. Oracle declined to comment when contacted by BBC News. And one of the most recognisable brands in history is 50.
1984. We introduced the Macintosh. In 2001, we introduced the first iPod. An iPod This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Apple co-founder Steve Jobs there talking at the launch of the iPhone in 2007. Ken Siegel was the firm's creative director for 12 years. He was the man behind the I in iPhone, and before that the iMac, although it was almost called something else.
So he had a name. That's how the meeting started. I loved the name MacMan. That was his choice. He thought that was a cool name, and we all kind of gagged. And he said, let us go back to the agency and think about that one. So had a few more, but I had iMac in the bag. After he rejected the new ones, he thought that small I and the capital M, just 4 characters, on that, the machine had a personality that seemed to fit that personality. He thought design-wise, it was the best name.
Well, it's now one of the most valuable companies in the world with a market capitalization of more than $3.5 trillion. But it almost failed until the Think Different campaign turned things around.
While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
They were 3 months away from bankruptcy. We had no new computers to sell. That wouldn't happen until the iMac came out 8 months later. So what are we going to do? And so we got together and we decided that we could use a brand campaign to sort of set the stage for what's to come. And Think Different was born of that. And Steve was very emotionally attached to that campaign. He thought that the words Think Different so perfectly captured the essence of Apple. And it did a very good job of introducing iMac and things like that, even though, I should point out, I can be honest now, all these years later, we had no idea what was coming.
Well, that was Ken
Watch it
Siegel,
out,
who's
yeah,
the
for
former
what?
creative director at Apple. And that's business express with me, Sarah Rogers. So whatever device you are listening to us on, please do subscribe to get the latest episode. Just search for World Business Express.
This is the BBC World Service. The super rich made their fortunes.
He was famously a bodybuilder, a movie action hero, and even governor of California, but only made even more money from another career.
Find out exactly how Arnold Schwarzenegger became a billionaire by listening to Good Bad Billionaire.
Today at 17:30 GMT. On the BBC World Service app, Discovery.
Antibiotics over the past decades have saved hundreds of millions of lives, but bacteria learn to fight back and to resist. There's now an internationally recognised antibiotic crisis. I'm looking at how we got there and why efforts to tackle the crisis are failing.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
BBC World Service. I'm Nkechi Obonna in Nairobi with Focus on Africa. Protests turned violent in South Africa's Eastern Cape province following the coronation of a Nigerian community king. What's going on?
The one time that they did try and raise the issue, they were ignored to the point that things became violent, and if that happened, then everything is about xenophobia. So every time South Africans try and raise their voice, it's called xenophobia.
And across East Africa, cheetahs, the world's fastest land animals, are disappearing. So what's behind the decline in their population?
Many people think that, oh, it's a cute animal, I think I should have a cute animal. I mean, they are the smallest of big cats, and they purr. And so when they're tiny babies, they are very cute. They purr, they've got spots. So people don't realize when they grow up, they are a wild animal.
That's all on the BBC Tonight in Focus. First, the news.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Global markets have rallied after President Trump repeated that the war against Iran could end in the next 2 to 3 weeks, with or without a deal. Shares have risen in Europe and Asia, while oil prices dropped. Emma Simpson has the details.
The price of oil has been on a roller coaster ride since the conflict began. At one point this morning, Brent crude fell more than 3%, dipping briefly below $100 a barrel.
European gas prices also fell. Traders have been buying US stocks, betting that the war could be nearing its end. Asian markets also rose sharply this morning, followed by European indexes. A global market rally, but will the relief be short-lived? Right now, any positive news is being seized on, but huge uncertainties remain.
Britain says it will host a meeting of some 35 countries this week to discuss matters related to the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which has been blocked by Iran. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said they would assess all viable measures to restore freedom of navigation. Iran has continued to launch missiles and drones at Israel and its Gulf Arab neighbours in retaliation for US and Israeli attacks. 4 missile alerts sounded in Israel this morning, and there were numerous reports of casualties and damage around Tel Aviv. Yana Nell reports from Jerusalem.
Arab Gulf states continue to see Iranian drone attacks. One man was killed by falling shrapnel from an interception in the United Arab Emirates. Kuwait reported a fire at an airport fuel depot and Bahrain at a business centre. Saudi Arabia said it shot down drones. Released by Qatar Energy. A series of US and Israeli attacks have hit southern Iran and the capital, Tehran, where one strike appears to have hit the compound of the former US embassy.
Justices are hearing arguments. Trump's executive order argues it violates the Constitution. Iona Wells is outside where demonstrators have gathered.
Big protest gathering, as you might be able to hear, they're currently playing Born in the USA, which is what this is really all about. What we're hearing today is the oral arguments from lawyers on both sides, and people essentially trying to set out whether or not it is legal for Trump to end birthright citizenship. His lawyers are likely to argue that this was something that was put in the Constitution after the Civil Wars, meant to apply to children of formerly enslaved people to protect their rights to stay in the United States. But they argue that this wasn't designed for people who are in the US illegally or in the US temporarily.
This is the latest world news from the BBC. A long-awaited trial over Greece's worst train crash has resumed after being adjourned last month. A crowded courtroom descended into chaos. 57 people, mostly students returning home, died in the collision. Here's Nick Beak.
This disaster is widely known in Greece as the Tempe crime, with many believing it encapsulated negligence and corruption at the heart of the state. 36 people are on trial, including a station master who failed, along with everyone else, to spot the 2 trains had been travelling towards each other on the same line for 10 minutes before the crash. The Greek railway network has not made use of EU funding to improve safety, and unions have warned of some sort of catastrophe. More than 350 witnesses are due to give evidence in a case which could last years.
Ukraine says Russian strikes on the central Cherkasy region have killed 4 people and wounded others. The attacks come as President Zelensky prepares for talks with the US to try to restart negotiations with Russia. Moscow has rejected the Ukrainian proposal for an Easter truce on energy infrastructure, describing it as a PR stunt. Kenya's tea traders say about 8,000 tons of tea are stuck in the warehouses in the port city of Mombasa due to disruption to shipping routes linked to the Iran war. The East Africa Tea Traders Association said the losses since the beginning of March amounted to $8 million a week. 40 migrants have died at sea in 3 regions of Europe. Another 2 are missing. Bodies of 19 were Italian Coast Guard from an inflatable boat in Medusa. 19 are said to be from Afghanistan. Coast. And 2 people have died in the English Channel off French beach. BBC News.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Nkechi Obonna in Nairobi with Focus on Africa. And Ezendibo, a traditional title given to a leader of the Igbo community in Nigeria, has sparked controversy in South Africa's Eastern Cape province after some locals objected to the coronation of a new leader.
I was quite concerned that it's going to keep changing away from the original issue. It may have started with the issue of coronation, but now people are finding expression as a path to express their anger and frustration with their own government.
And across the Horn of Africa, the fastest animal on land, the cheetah, is struggling to keep up with the threats around it, from illegal trade to growing human pressure on its habitat. But what role does this big cat play in the ecosystem?
So they eat rapidly, and then whatever is left, they feed the vultures, they feed the jackals, the other predators, the small mammals, the insects. So the cheetah is actually very, very important. It's feeding the veldt, but it's also, we call nature's doctor, because as the cheetah hunts, it picks out the weak and the old and the sick and the slow.
It's Wednesday, April 1st. First, we go to South Africa, where a controversial appointment of an Igbo king, Solomon Ubonna Eziko, in the city of Kugumpo, formerly East London, has led to mixed interpretation of the title and a protest that turned violent. The recent installation of the Nigerian community leader in the city, who has a traditional title that can be translated as King of the Igbo people in East London, has caused tensions, and some South Africans in the local area see this as an attempt to grab political power. So a peaceful protest as an aftermath was arranged by a group called March and March to address illegal immigration and the dissatisfaction expressed by many South Africans in the country about Eziko's appointment. During the protest, one of the protesters said he was attacked by a foreigner, then everything changed. Demonstrators started damaging several vehicles and shops, most belonging to foreigners, and several videos started circulating online. So I asked Ngobez Zuma, the protest organizer, why they were protesting. Here is what she told me.
Well, there's been tensions boiling for a while now with South Africans calling to be prioritized in their own country. And it so happened that while all of that was happening, I think it was just like reaching boiling point. And so South Africans decided to go and protest on the streets to call out the issue of illegal immigrants. And, South Africans have kept quiet and have been hospitable for a long time. And the one time that they did try and raise the issue, they were ignored to the point that things became violent. And if that happened, then everything is about xenophobia. So every time South Africans try and raise their voice, it's called xenophobia. And so South Africans are really, really frustrated now. And that's why they felt the need that we need to take to the streets.
Now, how do South Africans view this appointment, and how is their traditional leadership structure that makes Eziko's appointment controversial? I talked to Professor Tapelo Joseph Uklogetwe from the Faculty of Humanities in the University of Botswana. I began by asking him why some South Africans have reacted this way following the coronation of the Igbo leader.
It was extremely shocking because we need to appreciate parallel system in Africa where you have democratic governments ruling over specific countries, and at the same time we have all these customary systems which are running parallel to a democratic system. So what's happening is that there is a terrible customary failure in South Africa because the customary rules or the rule of chiefs, the rule of kings is closely connected to the land in which specific individuals are found.
From what we understand, this coronation, this king, is not an institutionalized monarchy. It's a leader, the way you would have like a chairman or a president or whatever, of an association of people of a tribe who are in the diaspora. Is that in any way threatening the institutional monarchy in the Eastern Cape?
It is, and I think that is really being given as an excuse. What should happen is, if there are rebellions in the diaspora, let's say in the US, in the UK, or in any part of Africa, their king will be in their native land. That will be somewhere, say, in Zimbabwe. What cannot happen is that there would be a coronation of an Indebele king somewhere in, say, in Serowe, in Botswana, or somewhere in Accra, Ghana. That is undermining the king of that space. To try and break that and say, no, this is only symbolic. In Africa, there is that link. Once you are in a space and you say there's a coronation of a king, and you say, no, 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 we're not claiming this territory, it becomes very ambiguous, it becomes very confusing, and then tomorrow we'll be crying xenophobia and tensions between the two countries of Nigeria and South Africa.
Can you give us, in the Southern African context, what is the role of this kind of title?
Before the boundaries of countries were carved, the entire Southern Africa was ruled by kingdoms, either the Zulu kingdom, different Zona kingdoms, or the Amathosa, and so on. We need to place this within the historical context that the national borders are very recent, less than 200 years old. The different members must be associated with the land.
Professor, before I let you go, can you just highlight very quickly what the political and social motivations behind these attacks have been, if any?
The truth in South Africa is that there is social instability, there are high levels of corruption, people are unhappy, the quality of life has been affected since 1994, and people find excuses and the blame on foreign nations. So for me, when I looked at South African matter in terms of this issue, I was quite concerned that it's going to keep changing away from the original issue. It may have started with the issue of coronation, but now people are finding expression as a path to express their anger and frustration with their own government. And unfortunately, it always spills to innocent foreign nationals.
Many thanks to Professor Tapelu Joseph Klugetu.